Hello everyone and welcome to my preview of the Caulfield Cup for 2025. The barrier draw was just conducted about half an hour ago and now I'm going to go through a speed map, the market, some replays and at the end my bet and exotics. So guys, I just finished recording this video and then I had to come back and do this bit because the market came out after the barrier draws. So throughout this video, I'm going to be talking about the market before the barrier draw for most of the time. So here's the market after the barrier draw. Half yours, the commanding favourite at 270. Maidan, second line of betting, 850. Royal Supremacy into 10. We've got Vauban at 12. The only two other horses in single figures are Middle Earth and Birdman. Now we'll get on to a potential speed map. I was not confident at all mapping this race, but here is a basic outline of what might happen in runs. So I think the two Rupert leg horses, Banker's Choice and Plymouth, can share the front. I think the favourite Half Yours gets a perfect run on the leader's back. Royal Supremacy will be forward of midfield. Maidan, from all reports, likes to be tucked away midfield. Vauban's the one that at the moment I've got left out 3 wide, no cover. I think in the early stages there's going to be a bit of congestion around that midfield part. So I think Vauban with that wide gate may be left wide, but he might have cover 3 wide if, say, Plymouth or something can't get across. Birdman, perfect run midfield. Land Legend's the interesting one. I don't know what they're going to do with Land Legend, whether they go back from that wide draw again or whether they finally press forward. If he finally presses forward, it might leave Plymouth 3 wide, no cover for Vauban to tuck up in behind. Zardozi, Middle Earth off midfield. I think Valiant King's the back marker with Golden Snap, the Japanese. We'll first take a look at the main lead-up race to the Caulfield Cup. It is the Group 1 Turnbull Stakes, won by Sir Delius. He's not running this week. Instead, he's running in the Cox Plate next week. I did these replays yesterday as well, so that's why Moira is still highlighted. Moira retired this morning, for all those that didn't know. Look, there's only one horse you want to follow out of this race, and it is Half Yours. He was an eye-catching run down the outside, only beaten by Sir Delius, Antino, and Via Sistina. All very good horses, and Half Yours produced the fastest last 200 metres of the race. Really finished off like a freight train, and the others like Deacon, Adelaide River, Middle Earth, Zardozi, they're all sort of, in my opinion, they might be able to sneak into a placing, but it's unlikely. They're probably going to finish around that midfield position. Like I said before, Half Yours is the one to take out of that race, but I can't believe how short it is. I haven't been around for too long, so I can't remember too many commanding favourites in a Caulfield Cup. The last one I remember was Incentivize back in 2021, and heading into the Caulfield Cup, Incentivize was a dual Group 1 winner. Like Half Yours has won a Caloundra Cup and the Naturalism. Grand Piero ran third that day in that Naturalism. Now, no disrespect to Grand Piero, he's a very consistent horse, but Grand Piero ain't winning the Caulfield Cup. The only difference between Incentivize and Half Yours is that Half Yours has a bit of weight relief. It's only got the 52.5 kilos. And I think another thing in Half Yours' favour is that there's not too many of its rivals that have put their hand up going, I'm running well, I can win a Caulfield Cup. Half Yours off that Turnbull run deserves to be a great chance, but I can't get it that short. I want to touch on one of the imports, Maidan, who's currently the second favourite. I'm going to bring up a Racing Australia graphic of its last start run in the September Stakes. I'm not allowed to show the replays because I keep getting copyrighted by the UK racing channels, so I'm sorry about that. But on this occasion, Giavolotto beats Maidan by about 2.5 lengths, and we can tie in the form through Giavolotto with Vauban. Giavolotto beats Vauban by about 5 lengths. So if you just purely look at that, Maidan has about 2.5 lengths on Vauban on race performance. But I like to look at the SPs. I don't know about you. You might do something different, but I like looking at starting prices. So Giavolotto started $3.25 compared to Maidan's $17. So in my view, that's about a 4-length gap. The market is expecting Giavolotto to beat Maidan home by about 4 lengths. That's what I think the difference is between $3.20 and $17. We go back to that Vauban race and Giavolotto and Vauban are about the same price. So off the SPs, I think Maidan is a good 4 or so lengths behind Vauban. But that's just tying the form in. That's not looking at any replays or doing any other work. That's just purely looking at the form tied in through Vauban. So on one hand, race result wise, Maidan probably has 2 lengths on Vauban. Off the SPs, I think Vauban has 4 lengths on Maidan. So which way do we look at it? I'd be including Maidan in exotics just because of the race result perspective. We'll next take a look at a replay of the Metrop won by Royal Supremacy featuring Birdman and Vauban. That rhymes. Maybe we should have a box Quinella with Birdman and Vauban. But Royal Supremacy won this race well by 3/4 of a length in the end. Had the lightweight of 50 kg, now goes up to 52.5 kilos. But it won pretty well here. In terms of the other two, look, Vauban, like I said from my map, it could be 3 wide no cover, but it's definitely got the class, and Blake Shin takes the ride, and we all know how good Blake Shin is. Birdman's the interesting one, in my opinion. Jai McNeil was booked to ride him in all the likely fields that Trav Noonan and all them put out on Sunday. But now that Valiant King's in the race, there's a bit of a decision that Jai McNeil has to make. So don't know who's going to ride Birdman. But Birdman, I've been impressed with him this preparation. From gate 10, I reckon he gets a lovely run midfield, and I think he's ready to fire. We will next look at the Archer Stakes taken out by Valiant King. This was a big win from the back, and we had Gilded Water, the hot favourite, setting a really fast tempo out in front for Jamie Mellum, which set it up for a backmarker like Valiant King to run into it, and run into it he did. He won impressively by 2 3/4 lengths in the end. This is the horse that is in the same silks as Birdman, the Aussie Kia colours, that Jai McNeil, who does he ride? Does he ride Valiant King or does he ride Birdman? Look, Valiant King was second up on this day, produced a big turn of foot to win. Now he's third up. The only problem is he's drawn gate 16. Now, he's a horse that gets back anyway, but if he drew a barrier more inside, he might have been able to sneak 1 or 2 pairs closer. Judging off his last start performance, he can definitely be competitive in a Caulfield Cup, but will he replicate that again? Well, that's the question, and he's going to have to get back again and storm over the top of them. Forgot to mention Revelare, that horse, I just would have liked to seen a little bit more from him last start. It was a fast run race, and maybe he's a horse that's more suited to a bit of a moderate tempo, but it's likely to be, Caulfield Cups usually always run at a genuine tempo anyway, so I'm happy to look past Revelare on Saturday. The last replay we're going to take a look at is of a horse that I'm going to throw in the exotics, and you might scoff at. It's not even in the early market that I can see, because the market after the barrier draw hasn't come out yet. I was on him last week, Plymouth. Now, I know you might scoff at that, but I want to throw him in my exotics. I think he profiles really well for a Caulfield Cup, at least the little stats sheet that I've been working on over the past couple of weeks for the Caulfield Cup. And look, he loomed up here. He got the perfect run throughout. He loomed up here and couldn't go on with the job. But I still thought he ran really well behind Braden Starr. He just couldn't get that 2,400 metres. Now that he's had that run at 2,400, hopefully that brings him on. And off the week back up, I think shows a lot of X factor. Now, it's a case of, like I said at the start, does Land Legend go forward? If Land Legend presses forward now out to 2,400 metres, it might leave Plymouth 3 wide no cover. But if they go back on Land Legend again, I just think Plymouth follows Banker's Choice across and gets outside the leader. I don't, like I said before, I don't know the price of Plymouth at the moment, but I'm assuming he's going to be big odds. I'm throwing him in exotics. Speaking of exotics, let's get on with them. Starting with Salmonators Quinella, the 3 exotics that I'm about to show are all very similar. So for first in the Quinella, all double-digit saddle cloths, Birdman, who I think is a great hope at a price. Half Yours, the favourite, Royal Supremacy, the Metrop winner. And I'm throwing in Plymouth. I think I'm the only person in Australia that'll have Plymouth in my Caulfield Cup exotics. So you can hate if you want, but if it somehow wins, don't come crying to me. Vauban, I'm throwing in for second. That weight worries me though. Maidan, the trainers have been pumping up this horse like it's as good as West Wind Blows, I heard. I'm going to throw it in the exotics. And Zardozi, who ran 4th last year, I think can sneak into a minor placing this year. Similar deal with the trifecta, the same for second is for third, and similar for the first 4, the same for second and third is for 4th. That's Salmonators Exotics. Now, who am I backing in this year's Caulfield Cup? So you might have read the title of this video before clicking on it. I think I've got the winner at whatever price it is after the barrier draw. It is Birdman. Uncle Chris bought one south a few years ago called Durston, who managed to win with the lightweight. and I like Birdman on an each-way basis on Saturday. Look, he's fifth up now. He's already had the run at 2,400 metres in the Metrop, which I was really impressed with that run. Drew gates 16 of 17 or something like that and had to go back. Now can sneak a few pairs closer from gate number 10. And look, I don't really mind which jockey's on. If it's John McNeil, that's great. If it's someone else, I'm sure they can do the job. So Birdman is my bet in the Caulfield Cup on an each-way basis. Let me know who you're backing in the Caulfield Cup. Until next video, bye for now.